September 17th, 1862. On that day, Union and Confederate armies met in the fields and the woods near Sharpsburg, Maryland, for the Battle of Antietam. In 12 hours, 23,000 Americans were killed, wounded, or missing. That day was the bloodiest day in America's history. The first engagement on the morning of the battle was in Miller's cornfield. It was one of the bloodiest encounters of the battle. The soldiers advanced blindly through the tall corn under withering fire from the other side. The cornfield changed hands 6 times. When the day was over, there were so many dead across the entire battlefield that most of those killed were initially buried in shallow graves where they fell. Over time, the soldiers were moved from those temporary graves to cemeteries at home or near the battlefield. Over 160 years later, there are likely still graves that haven't been found. Not too long ago, a hiker from Oklahoma was following the National Park Service tour through the battlefield. As the hiker was going down a path through the cornfield, they spotted what looked to them to be bone fragments that had been brought up by a groundhog digging a burrow. The hiker left the fragments where they lay and let the rangers know what they'd found. Park Service archaeologists excavated the site and found the remains of a teenage soldier. In addition to bones, they found 7 coat buttons, 2 New York State cuff buttons, 6 trouser buttons, a leather strap, and a belt buckle. Soldiers in the Civil War didn't have standard uniforms the way our armed services do today. Each state's regiment's uniforms were unique. The 2 New York State cuff buttons allowed the archaeologists to determine that the young man was from New York. The Park Service rangers placed the remains, including the uniform pieces, into a casket that the park made from a walnut tree from the battlefield. They arranged to have the remains taken to New York so the soldier could finally be home. The soldier was buried in New York with full military honors. If that hiker had rooted around the groundhog dirt pile and found a cool souvenir button or two, or just walked on by and left the pile for others to dig through, those 2 buttons could have been lost. The teenage soldier would never have gone home. But the hiker followed Leave What You Find, and the soldier is now home.